Welcome to my channel. Deep beyond the reach of maps and machines lies a shadowed wilds, a vast, primal jungle untouched by civilization. Here, the trees whisper ancient names, and the moon never quite reaches the forest floor. It is a place of forgotten gods, ruined temples, and predators born from legend. Most who enter never return, but the few who do speak of a presence in the trees, a figure cloaked in leaves and shadow. Let the whisperwood seek you. They taught her to read the jungle signs, to hunt with the feathered and the furred, to climb and navigate the canopy as easily as a spider monkeys. By the time she reached the age of 20 summers, she knew every inch of the whisperwood. Lately, the forest had been troubled. Strange sounds echoed from the drilling machines tearing into the earth. Unnatural lights pierced the canopy. New smells, metallic and sharp, invaded the air. It was a macaw, its wing broken, its feathers singed. The warden cradled the dead bird for a long moment, its warmth fading against her chest. Then she rose, her eyes blazing with purpose. She knew now what she had to do. She wouldn't stop the drills. No, she would go to the source of the disturbance herself, deep into the heart of the whisperwood, to the roots of the jungle and the source of its power. There she would confront whatever evil stirred beneath the earth and put an end to it. The warden caught the bird before it hit the ground and cradled it close. The macaw, its voice hoarse with pain, spoke to her telepathically. She struck fast, her blade singing through the air. The man reeled back, raising his arm to block, but the warden's blade sliced through flesh and bone as easily as a hot knife through butter. The man crumpled to the ground, his blood staining the earth a dark red. The drills, they're destroying the roots, awakening the hunger, the great evil beneath the earth. She returned to her perch and waited. Soon enough, the workers would find their leader's body and flee. The news of the monster in the jungle would spread, and soon the whisperwood would be safe once more. The humans came with their machines and their guns, cutting down the trees and blasting through the roots, scoffing at the spirits of the forest and laughing in the face of danger. Their leader, a bull-like man with a neck like a python, bellowed orders. The warden watched them from the trees, her lips pressed into a thin line. It was time to make a stand. She just had to figure out where. She hadn't expected them to be so persistent, but then again, these weren't ordinary men. She could sense it in their eyes, their movements, the way they carried themselves. These men weren't afraid of her. In fact, they seemed eager to find her, to hunt her down and kill her. At intervals, he paused to wipe the sweat from his brow, revealing a pendant around his neck. A strange, unidentifiable stone set in metal. We must stop them. Please, Warden, you must stop them. She dropped silently from the canopy and landed behind him, her blades flashing in the firelight. He didn't even see her coming. One moment he was giving orders, the next he was staring up at the warden with wide, terrified eyes. Worst of all, the warden could feel the disturbance deep in the earth, a pulse of malice growing steadily stronger. In turn, the jungle knew her every move. Trees bent down to allow her passage. Now it was time to show the world her face. Usually the forest was a place of peace and tranquility, a sanctuary from the cares of the world. Now the forest was wounded, scared, angry, and the warden, attuned to the whisperwood as she was, shared those emotions. She had to do something. But what? The forest was vast, the drilling machines small and fast. To get to the source of the disturbance would take days, and the warden wasn't sure she could intervene in time. Vines parted before her. Birds warned her of danger. The forest itself was her ally. The blades were as inseparable from her as her own limbs. She wore a cloak woven from broad leaves and flowers that concealed her lithe form and rust-colored hair. Her eyes, as dark and fathomless as a forest pool's, were her most striking feature. When she walked among the trees, it was as if the forest itself moved with her. The animals regarded her with an instinctive reverence. Even the jaguars, the aplomado falcons, the anacondas, none of them challenged her. They knew her as the warden, the daughter of the forest, the one who kept balance in the jungle. Was a first lesson drilled into the warden from the moment she could understand the language of rustling leaves and chittering insects. It was the second lesson of her life. After learning to walk upright on two legs instead of all fours, she had no memory of her birth parents, if they even bore her a name. Only the spirits of the forest knew her true parentage. All she knew was that she was found abandoned at the edge of the woods. swaddled in a blanket woven from the bark of a paper mulberry tree. She also knew that she was different from the spirits in ways she couldn't name, but that they loved her nonetheless. Some say she is spirit, some say she is death. To those who trespass in the silent wilds, she is known only as the Warden long ago. At the edge of the Whisper Wood, decades later, something dark is stirring in the forest's heart. Foreign machines have begun drilling into the Whisper Wood's core, tearing at the roots of the jungle, and awakening something that should remain asleep, something vile, cruel, and very, very old. As the darkness stirs, the Warden must choose between her duty and her nature, between the whispers of the past and the howls of the future.